Since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Vladimir Putin's approval ratings stayed consistent, hovering around 85%. Polling data in Russia overstates actual support, but it accurately tracks trends. Right now, it's falling. Pollsters report a synchronized decline, showing Putin's approval slumping to 66%, the lowest since the invasion. Simultaneously, explicit disapproval has hit an 18-month high of 16%. At a glance, the explanation for this seems obvious. The Russian army is struggling to make territorial gains in Ukraine, inflation is high, and the domestic economy is beginning to look stagnant. While war weariness is a factor, the timing tracks most closely with an aggressive escalation in the state's digital policy, a campaign aimed directly at the smartphones in every Russian's pocket. Over the past several weeks, the Kremlin has tightened its grip on the internet. This involves throttling VPNs, imposing intermittent regional blackouts, and restricting platforms like YouTube. The primary focus of this campaign is Telegram. The encrypted messenger serves as the digital backbone of the country, used by 105 million people, roughly 70% of the entire population. The app's founder, Pavel Durov, left Russia in 2014 after the state forced him to sell his previous company. He has spent the years since positioning himself as a privacy advocate, leading to a testy relationship with the Kremlin. The government tried to ban Telegram once before, in 2018. That attempt failed after triggering a massive public uproar, characterized by thousands throwing paper airplanes, Telegram's logo, into city streets in defiance. Attacking the app again is a dangerous move for the regime. Telegram is no longer just a tool for activists. It is the inescapable foundation of daily Russian communication, commerce, and news. Officially, authorities claim Telegram is leaking sensitive data to NATO. However, the sheer scale of the digital restrictions suggests a broader motive, a push for total surveillance and control over the country's information space. Russia's security agency, the FSB, is increasingly dictating digital policy through the state watchdog. Their goal is to force citizens onto state-run alternatives like Max, a messaging app that users report is barely functional. This effort is creating significant real-world friction. The rolling digital blackouts are undermining the ability of ordinary citizens to perform basic tasks, from hailing a cab and using mobile payments to buying groceries. By prioritizing the surveillance of data over the functionality of the network, the Kremlin has introduced constant, inescapable frustration into the private lives of its citizens. Historically, Russian internet censorship relied on a blacklist. Citizens browsed freely, avoiding specific banned sites. Now, there are fears the Kremlin is moving toward a whitelist system, blocking the entire internet by default and granting access only to a tiny handful of state-sanctioned platforms. This shift would effectively treat the internet like a closed network, where the state dictates exactly which digital services are permitted to function. This technological shift explains the drop in polling when viewed through what journalist Masha Lipman calls the No Participation Pact. This is the unspoken social contract that has sustained Putinism for decades. The public agrees to stay out of politics and allow Putin a monopoly on power. In return, the Kremlin stays out of people's personal lives and provides a degree of stability and prosperity. That agreement was already beginning to fray due to the economic disruption and partial mobilizations of the war in Ukraine. Breaking the basic digital tools of modern life shatters the contract entirely. By disrupting the ability to use a phone or buy groceries, the state has forcibly inserted itself into the mundane routines of its people. Putin's approval ratings are falling because for the first time in his reign, the state is undeniably failing to uphold its half of the foundational social bargain.